for Season 2 of TERA Console. Lights awaken arboreal.
So in today's video, we are finally going over TERA Console 131 Season 2 update. Now, if you don't want to read the notes for yourself, both notes, part 1 and part 2, yes, this is a two-parter. That is how much information is in this update, will be linked in the description below. So if you want to read anything, there are some things I'm going to skip over because they are just not necessary, I feel, to go into too much conversation, to try and keep this video a bit more tamed on time. I will include pictures as I can, and please enjoy me flying around whatever part of Arborea I am flying around. So the other thing is, if you want to get any quick further updates or sooner updates about TERA Console, really do consider joining the community Discord. The developer is posting occasionally quite a bit of fun updates as soon as he is allowed to release stuff. So there is a bit early access to things if you join that Discord, as well as just a lot of good information is going to start being posted in there. I'm posting all of my guides in there. There's other dungeon guides from PC players and just other people. It's a great Discord to join. Please consider joining it if you haven't, especially if you want to learn more about TERA. If you have questions, there are people in there that can help. With that, let's dive into these patch notes. So of course we are getting a new battle pass. As always, is a new season, a new battle pass always happens. The battle pass will last from the 9th when the update happens all the way to 8/6, so for 4 months. Hopefully that means this season is also only lasting for 4 months, but we will see as it happens. Battle pass, you know, basically is giving what it gives. There's not much added bonuses. The only thing I think that is really worth mentioning with the battle pass and battle pass plus is that you will be able to get training book promotions 20% instead of the high training books only giving 10. These give 20. They're not as strong as the ultimate training book, but there is a new training book that looks to be more geared in helping people promote their pets a bit quicker. Everything else is about the same. I think the only other huge worth mentioning item at the end of the battle pass is the legendary card exchange token, and the fact that you get one of those. That is pretty nice. It's in the premium, therefore you could pick whatever superior card you want. There is an Easter event. I'm not going to talk about that on this video, as I plan to release multiple Easter event videos going over the event, going over just all sorts of stuff, where to find the eggs, and yeah. So stay tuned for the Easter videos. They are bringing back the rapid growth event that was from Season 1 does return. Basically, for anyone that doesn't know, with the rapid growth event, basically you'll get a bunch of boxes. Each level you hit a new tier, so you may get a box at like 600, 700, 800, and it gives you a bunch of huge good rewards. I highly recommend putting this on a character you plan to play, but also doesn't have level 7 stones, as that event usually always gives level 7 event stones, and that's usually the most important item. There is a change to the level 5 and 7 stones. You will be able to dismantle any level 5 stone to get 1 diamond, and if you dismantle a level 7 stone, you'll get 2 diamonds. So that's something worth noting, that, you know, the Aura and Jarn stones can be dismantled for diamonds. Next, we're going to get into dungeons. Here, I will put on screen what dungeons are currently in the game. Now, just to let you know, with this dungeon list, we are not showing the 2 hardest dungeons. Rampaging RK9 Last Stand and RK9 Hard will be released in update 132 and 133. But honorable dungeons I do want to mention off this list. Undying Warlord, I believe being the Brawler Forbidden Arena 900, is replacing CAA. Actually, that is CAA HM level. So we will have a CAHM level, hopefully giving us rune materials off the bat. Acheron's Inferno Horror being a 10-player raid, there is a good chance this dungeon can only be run once or twice a week, and we'll get into why this dungeon's important. Chaos Ice Throne being the hard version of Ice Throne normal mode. My guide for Ice Throne normal will come out tomorrow, so stay tuned to that, as that will be released very soon. And then of course we have Timescape and Timescape Hard. These are two amazing fun dungeons that have never been on console before. Actually, we technically have three, because Chaos Ice Throne being Ice Throne Hard has never been on console before either. So three brand new dungeons to console. Acheron's Inferno Hard has not been in console for over like at least 5 years, so that's really cool to see that dungeon coming back. And even some of the lower ones, Darkreach, Democron, all of these dungeons haven't been in the game for a very long time. Of course, their required item level will match the amount of Vanguards they give out, along with the rewards they give out. The next thing to know, when you do clear a dungeon, we do have the chance of seeing the Nexus Mystery Merchant, so you will want to keep quite a bit of gold on you, as every time the merchant comes, you'll be able to buy diamonds or other specific gems, and it is going to be character locked, meaning once you buy the 5 diamonds on that time the guy spawns, you won't be able to buy anything more than 5. So the diamond price they did show on the thing is about 10,700 gold per diamonds. That is pretty damn good price, the fact that you sell diamonds at 10k, and most people are trying to sell them on the trade broker for like 25 to 30,000 gold. Being able to buy 5 quick diamonds for about 55k is pretty nice, and you will be able to buy other things as well from the merchant, mostly just gems. I think it is only going to be gems, diamonds, emeralds, sapphires, rubies, and of course it will be a specific amount. Another thing to know about dungeons is they are increasing their critical resistance as well as increasing their HP scale. I do believe HP is getting increased 50 to 30 or 50 to 300% from what they said on Discord, and then critical resistance is getting increased up to 200%. Mind you, this is scaling. Every 100 it is getting increased, so don't think like, oh, the lowest dungeon's getting a 300 boost. No, the lower dungeons are probably only getting 50, while the 900 level dungeon is getting 300. And don't worry, crit classes, I have some amazing news that we'll go over in very soon. Some other dungeon changes, since we're on the fact of dungeons, is they are removing all the cutscenes from dungeons, so you will not have to worry about those pesky cutscenes anymore. You'll be able to get in, fight the bosses, and get out a bit quicker. And they are also removing the mini games from Ice Throne and Arcanine, meaning no more going for those pesky generators in Arcanine between, I think it's first and second, or second and third boss, I forget. You don't have to deal with those freaking little spinny things, and for Ice Throne you don't have to deal with that jumping mini game anymore. Of course there are achievement changes, you can read them. World events, they are increasing the boss HP and Bellica's defense. That is very, very good to know. And the base buff effects granted in Guardian mission are significantly increased. So basically you should be able to get boxes a lot quicker, no matter if it is Avenging Talons or Bellica's defense. This is very useful as they are increasing just the reason to do Avenging Talons with the new, well, Guardian Legion in general, with the new store changes they made this last patch. Crafting, they're removing some useless crafting items. I believe this is probably, the Kaya's crafting materials that we used to have, and other things that were just not used anymore are getting removed. They didn't list it, but it would make sense that we can't craft that Kaya's resources, that, not Kaya's dust, but when Kaya's had Kaya's enhancement energy and all that weird stuff is getting removed. There are going to be some new crafting materials, and this is going to be very important when it comes to upgrading your Annihilation gear. So the very first thing they're adding is Alexanderite. This is a new gem that is higher than the diamond tier. You will only need it for enhancing Annihilation above 9. So 10 to 15. By the way, yes, Annihilation is getting 10 to 15. We'll cover that in a bit. To get to 10 to 15, you will need Alexanderite, and the drop rate is extremely low. I'm assuming it will probably only drop in Chaos Ice Throne, the Arena, and well, Acheron's Inferno Heart, I would assume, and the Arena. Chaos Ice Throne, it might not. We'll see when the update goes through. I'll kind of go through all the dungeon list and see what can drop. But of course, if you want to craft it, the recipe is going to be a bit hard to obtain, but once you do attain it, it'll take 10 diamonds, 10 crafting kit, and 8 production points, and that should net you 1 Alexanderite. So not too bad. It kind of is the same concept of emeralds moving with diamonds. The next crafting items added is the Dark Shard Weapon Enhancement Stones and Dark Shard Armor Enhancement Stones. This is actually something PC had, and again, when I show the image, that's the only reason I recognized it, is it was a material used on PC. It was originally used for their Annihilation gear. And basically what you can do is you'll get 5 Dismantling neutralizers, 10 Dark Shard of red magic or blue enhanced Dark Shards, and then 500 Annihilation dust with 100 production points. And you'll basically craft, you know, the red ones for the weapon, the blue ones for the armor, and it just works that way with all of that stuff. You're gonna be able to earn the neutralizers from dungeons, and Dark Shard of red magic and blue enhanced Dark Shards will drop all from dungeons. Again, that should be covered in patch note 2 section, and I'll cover that as I get to it. Sapphire bulk crafting has been added. It will craft 10 at a time, so basically you can make 10 sapphires with the use of 20 rubies, 200 crafting kits, and 200 production points. I do apologize, I forgot to say, but each of the Dark Shard weapon and armor stuff will only take 800 production points as well. Within that, now we move over to the second set of patch notes. It is talking about season gear. I've already talked enough about season gear in a previous video. All I'm gonna say with this is that season 1 is ending, season 2 is starting. Season 2 is going to work the same as season 1. As far as enchanting gear, it's all going to be the same, just the diamond consumption from 37 to 40 will be slightly reduced. There is a link down below that you can check the rewards. Again, that if you go link hop, go ahead. New items, this is kind of what we were just talking about, is all of that stuff for crafting. So the Dark Shard of red magic you can only obtain from dungeon levels 850 and higher, as well as the blue enhanced Dark Shards can only be obtained from 850 and higher. So you'll get a combination of both of those from doing Timescape hard and above. Those neutralizers that we talked about, the items needed to go along with those to craft, can be attained from 700 to 850. So if you're looking, to upgrade your Annihilation gear, you're actually going to be required to run everything from 700 and above, or make sure you do your pet adventures, as the pet adventures will also net you some of those neutralizers. Again, there's the new crafting recipes. The jewelry pattern for Alexanderite will only drop from 900 and above, so that means on release, Undying Warlord, or whichever arena we're getting, I'm 90% sure that's the brawler, only he will be dropping it once Rampaging Arcanine and Arcanine Heart come out. Those will also have the chance to drop that design. As far as enchanting dust drops, those will be from all dungeons excluding 890 and 900. So no enchanting dust drops from the top tiers. Broken enhancement steel fragments will only drop from Arcanine and the arena dungeon. So it is very important that if again you're leveling season gear, you're going to need the steel fragments from 35 to 40. So you are going to want to spam Arcanine once you are 39, and you are going to want to run Undying Warlord. There is new shining tears of Elenu. It can be attained from most dungeons. This restores 10,000 production points, and they are tradable. Whereas you can also get tears of Elenu, which can be obtained from pet adventures, and it will restore 500 production points. It is not tradable, and you can only stack above 10, or cannot stack above 10. So basically, they are making it so we can farm production points. That's amazing. That's a great change, especially the fact that they plan for us to craft our materials to enchant, Annihilation +9. Needing more production points or a way of farming production points is a very good addition. Next, the overall drop amount of season dust, enchanting dust, will be reduced. They have an image here. Again, I'm not going to include this one, but it basically just shows, the dungeons, Acheron's Inferno, Hagufna, all the stuff, Chaos Ice Throne, all the dungeons that are in the game, Timescape Hard. There's also some other changes. Dungeon core drop amount is going to be reduced by 50%. So as you might have been used to getting 4, Annihilation cores, you're now only going to get 2. But with Elite Gold, you will receive double. So it's kind of more incentive to just have gold. If you want to keep the same amount of cores that you're used to getting, just run Elite Gold. The equipment XP gain from Dungeon Vanguard will also be increased. That's important in a little bit. And unbinding the following items will no longer be possible. So you will not be able to liberate Stormcry, Heroic Oath, Kaya's Fury, or Virgos. I don't know why Virgos is included in that, but it does seem like we're not going to be able to liberate these old-fashioned stuff. I think the idea of that is just that they don't want people getting, Kaya's gear and liberating it from event and all of that stuff. Is what it is. They are also making a change to Vanguards. From how it reads, it says low efficiency mission granted after exceeding 25 Vanguard request will be removed. I think this is a huge major change, and if it reads the way I'm understanding it, once you complete your 25 Vanguards for the day, you will still get rewarded for doing a dungeon. So in other words, before, when you completed 25 Vanguards and you looked at your dungeon list, a dungeon would now, instead of giving you like 10k gold, only give you like 10 gold. You wouldn't get you wouldn't get the cores, you wouldn't get the, item XP, you wouldn't get the reward boxes, which in that regard means you wouldn't get the materials. Before they put those boxes in the dungeons, you would get the loot as you killed the boss. You would pick it all up. Since they took that away from bosses, anyone who completes their 25 dungeons would just typically stop playing or switch to another character. This is a way to combat that, to where it says no, even though you completed your 25, keep playing because you can still be rewarded. Now, as far as how much it rewards you, I don't know. It does not say that. I'm just assuming that hopefully, even if the gold drops, as long as the loot is still in the dungeon, that is an awesome update. Upcoming changes is the price of dungeon reset scrolls. Exchangeable through dungeon reset scrolls will be adjusted. This will happen in about 2 weeks, meaning if you have a bunch of reset scrolls, they are changing the price of what it will cost to buy them. Now, it does not say if they're going to increase it or decrease it, if they're making them more expensive or less expensive. My bet is they're going to make it more expensive to reset, because I know they have plans and they've talked about adding a way to farm that material. So what my hope is that they're going to make it more expensive to reset, at the cost of, well, when you're running dungeons, you're actually gonna get dungeon reset scrolls. Again, I'm hoping that was like their original plan, and I'm hoping they follow through with that plan. As soon as I get more information about that, of course, I will let you know. Some of the big changes now, why I was talking about, people getting different, upgrades just because, the crit stuff that I was saying, where don't worry DPS, you're getting a boost if you're a crit factor class, is that they're merging all the jewelry. So Stormcry, Heroic Oath, Kaya's, Annihilation, yes, we're getting Annihilation jewelry, is all being merged into one. So instead of it being a carving Stormcry ring or a power pounding, I think it was pounding out, you would think the warrior main that runs full power would know what it's called, are being merged. So in other words, the Stormcry ring that they have on the image is now just a Stormcry ring, and it will give you power by 23 and crit factor by 46. So they are merging the two accessory stats. This is a major buff to any heavy crit class, and any class that's been running power, you're getting enough crit to hopefully combat that additional 200% crit change to bosses, because rings alone are giving about 40 crit in the end. That's an additional 80 crit almost right there, not including the crit you're getting from the necklace and the earrings. So again, major change. This is great for lancers, this is great for healers, because healers aren't able to crit their heals as much, but healers want to run power to give more damage. So now this just basically puts everyone on an equal scale, and I am so happy for that. They are changing the accessory percentages. Basically, Stormcry from base will have 50% chance of upgrading. Heroic Oath is dropping or being promoted to 30%. Every fail you do on it, it will be a 3% increase, and with the item XP at max, you will get up to 70%. I don't know what enhanced Heroic Oath is. I don't understand what that means. But that's at 20%, goes up to 40%. And then Kaya's Fury, getting your stuff up to Kaya's, there will be equipment mastery XP of 15,000 or 15 million. When you fully fill your equipment mastery XP, you gain an additional 40% promotion chance. So I'm guessing this is more for the Kaya's to Annihilation. Yes, it is, because here's the image. So I'll show that image on screen now. So as you can see, this is what it's going to take to go from Kaya's Fury to Annihilation. It's going to be quite a bit of Kaya's Dust, quite a bit of diamonds, and Fluorite Niveate Stones. When you do get that 15 million item XP, you'll get an additional 40% chance of promotion, meaning instead of it being 10%, it will have 50%. So that's actually a reason to farm item XP, at least for your jewelry now. So it's almost going to be, for this jewelry, when you're at Kaya's, definitely consider boosting your weapon and armor for a bit while getting this item XP, because weapon and armor aren't going to get as much as an item XP boost as the jewelry, and it's even stated below it. Annihilation accessories will be added. They can be upgraded from Kaya's Fury accessories. Upgrade to Annihilation accessories will be a base rate of 10. Upon upgrade failure, a 1% correction of pride. Brooch and circlets require higher material consumptions, and etching is not retained. So just like everything, when you go to etch that item, it will be just, that's it. That's, you lose the etching. So the next item we're going to be talking about is the new Annihilation mask. They are going to be 3 of them. They drop from Akron's Inferno Hard, which you can only run 2 times per week. I believe it is 2 times per week per character. So if you have like 5 characters that can run it, well then you're good. They are adding 3 different masks. There will be a tank mask, which increases 12% damage to the target with the most aggro. Attacks draw 15% more aggro. And then you have a third roll that is randomized. And by randomized, I mean its stat is randomized. So it will be decreased damage taken from frontal attacks, anywhere from 1 to 5%. And then, of course, the bottom 3 rolls being power 3, crit factor 2, power 1, yada yada yada, are always going to be random. As for healers, you want the Mask of Annihilation Salvation because it will increase your attack speed by 5%, decrease your cooldowns by 2%, and increase your power anywhere from 2 to 10. So the attack speed and the cooldown are static for healers. It is your power roll that will be randomized from 2 to 10. I believe it's increments of 2. Tanks was increments of 1. Healers is increments of 2 power. And then again, your bottom 3 stats are randomized. And then we have the DPS mask, the Mask of Destruction. Increased damage by 12% when attacking from behind. Reduced 15% hostility when attacking monster. This basically is just reduced aggro generation by 15%. And then our randomized roll is decreased cooldown anywhere from 1 to 3%, and it has a 0.5 increase. So no matter what, you'll get 1. It could be 1.5, 2, 2.5, or 3%. And then the bottom 3 rolls are randomized as well. Nice little facts to know about these masks is when you dismantle it, you will obtain 1 source of destruction. With 5 of the source of destruction, you can obtain a Mask of Annihilation random crate. Basically, will give you just a random mask. But if you save up to 10, with 10, you can purchase the mask of your choice. And what that basically is stating is that if you are running a DPS, and let's say you're running Acheron's Inferno hard and you get, 10 source of destruction because no one else wants the mask, and you keep getting screwed and you keep getting Mask of, Salvation or Iron Wall, you can dismantle 10 of them and then you can pick the Mask of Destruction. Of course, everything else is going to be RNG as far as that cooldown and the 3 stats below, but at least that way you have the DPS mask. So now we're going to get into Annihilation, Weapon, and Armor. Annihilation is going to be upgraded to 15. From 9 and above, you will need the Dark Shard Enhancement Stones and Alexanderite, as we talked about before. The Enhancement Stones are divided into the blue and red. Blue for armor, red for weapon. And they are the main source, and you'll need to get them from crafting, as we talked about. The biggest thing about Annihilation, which I'm going to put up on the screen now, is the increased damage boost. And what I mean by this is, as you can see from the image, every time you level the weapon to 10, 12, 14, 15, every class is getting that 2, 3, 4, and 5% damage boost. This is the same roll as, or the same stat as the redstone. So healers, this is going to be massive. You get an extra 14% damage boost. I believe that's like an extra 7 power on Shakan alone. That's not including the amount of power you give additional to Annihilation, or to for Priest at least, to E-Stars and Edict. So again, that is a major buff. Even for DPS and tanks, damage boost is just a nice, basically multiplicative or additive to increase damage, and you're gonna want to get your Annihilation weapon to 15. That is the first thing you're gonna want to probably focus. Armor isn't gonna give damage amplification, it is actually gonna give toughness. Gloves are gonna give critical chance, and shoes will give critical resistance. So depending on how that plays out, it's going to be hard to say if season gear is actually going to be still better. Again, once season gear is released, I'll make a video of like really what should be fully focused, but there might even be more stuff we don't know about this 15 gear. There might be like additional group bonuses to make people want to have all 15. Again, if you're a class that needs a lot of critical chance, Your next focus might be getting your gloves to 15, because getting an extra crit chance for, 10 to 15 is pretty massive as well. There is equipment mastery added to Annihilation gear. Basically, when you fully fill the XP gained through equipment mastery, the success chance increases by the base chance amount. Meaning, from 0 to 1 is 10%. When you get it up all the way, instead of it being 20 or 10%, it will be 20. On enhancement failure, the correction pity chance will be increased about 2 to 5 times. So item XP for Annihilation, in my opinion, might not be really worth to go for as much, only because really it's going to probably be a ridiculous amount, and only getting an extra 10%, I just say screw it, just probably YOLO it. But you gotta decide what's best for y'all. The next thing is we got some system changes. Mail retention period is changing from 108 days to 30 days. Means anything you get sent will only last for 30 days before it's deleted. The tax rate of sending gold through the mail is going from 0.5 to 33%. In other words, they do not want you to send gold through the mail as much anymore. They're basically trying to cut down on RMT, and they're trying to cut down on just trades that are petty, worthless trades. The base cost to send mail is also going to be 10k gold. The base fee of the brokerage is being changed from 3 to 10%. Again, they're doing this to try and combat, RMT. But if you do have elite gold, the fee rate will change from 2% down to 0.5%. And listing period in the brokerage is getting increased from 7 days to 14 days. Rejoin waiting time after leaving a guild. They are changing the guild leaving time as well from 24 to 72 hours, meaning they just don't want people to, trade with it's all to combat RMT. They don't want someone to join a guild, pay someone money, and then take stuff out of that guild that the person puts in there, and then just leave it, and then be like, oh, let me come back. And they want to punish this as much as they can. They want to try and stop it, but at the same time they're trying to keep it fair, because there is still that chance of, well, someone may join a guild and get in a fight and be kicked, and now they have to wait 72 hours because they got in a petty fight. The devs are trying to do their best in balancing that. They don't want people just sending gold to, a friend who gives them $50. Like, they're trying to, combat it. And it's hard, and I get it's hard, because at the same time, I may want to help my friend boost, so I want to give them gold. Why should I be punished if I want to give them free gold? There's not really a good way, but I guess at that point their argument would be, well, have your friend join your guild because you're friends, right? And you're not going to kick them. So again, there's just a lot of system changes. There's a lot of bug changes. That is the end of the patch notes. Wow, that's a lot of information. And I'm super excited to see where Season 2 is going. If you do have any questions, please feel free to ask me in the comment section below, and I will do my best to answer stuff. This was a lot. I know it was a lot. It's a lot for me to even talk about. Yeah, a lot of cool fun stuff, and I think a lot of cool fun stuff is still in the works to come. So I'm super excited. If you got any questions, ask. Definitely check out the patch notes yourself. I skipped a lot of the dev notes. I skipped quite a bit of stuff that I just didn't feel like I should talk about, because it's just stuff that I'm trying to keep shortened to make this video not hit that 35-minute mark. So within that, that's about it. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have, go ahead and hit that like button. If you're thinking about coming back to TERA Console, please consider subscribing. Or if you're not subscribed and you like my content, please subscribe and hit that notification bell to see all future content. With that, I hope you have a wonderful, fantastic day and or night. And as always, gamers, I hope that I get to see you in Aboria.